Hello and welcome to the Daily Line at BetRepublic.com. Greg, it's all come down to this. This is Greg Dempson. I'm Jarvis Symes. We're getting ready for the big matchup tonight. Duke is laying 7.5 points. We've got Butler coming in. The Cinderella story's been great. This is a classic David versus Goliath matchup, Greg, but really has it come to an end? Is Butler's run over?
I think that when the night is done, we will not be saying the Butler did it, okay?
Right.
CNBC News, and I'm sure you've watched a lot of documentaries on that channel, they reported that Duke spent approximately $394,000 per player last year on their team, per player, whereas Butler spent $347,000 on the entire team.
This line has been jacked up because we all saw what happened on the weekend in the Final Four matchups. These were supposed to be two close games. The Spartans game was close earlier on against Butler. They kept it close till to the very end on those free throws that were missed. But the Duke game wasn't even close, and you've got three top guys on Duke, the offensive superstars that power this engine. Look at these numbers for Singler, Shire, and Smith. 57 of 78 points against Purdue, 54 of 78 in their game against Baylor, and against West Virginia. Out of 78 points, these three guys combined for 63 points of offense. Now, the defensive style of play that has gotten Butler to this point in the tournament.
Yes, it has, Jarvis.
It's been great for them, but the question I guess a lot of guys are asking with this 7.5-point line is that defense going to be enough to even stay in the same ballpark here?
You know, they held all of their opponents in the tournament to less than 60 points, but Duke is just as good on defense. And they played a tougher schedule, and they're a better team on offense. They have better bench strength. They're better outside the perimeter. That will be the key. Let me just give you Butler lifetime in the tournament. They're 13 wins and 9 losses. Duke is 93-30. That's an amazing record. That's how many times Duke has been here.
That's a straight-up record, though, for wins.
That's a straight-up record. That's
this
right.
line at 7.5, I'd be interested to see how many times they've been laying this many points.
Coach K, a lot of experience in the tournament. Neutral courts the last 2 years. He's won 20 out of 21 games straight up. The line, I had this line at around 7. It opened at 6.5. It went to 7. It went back to 6.5. What I did, Jarvis, and we mentioned this earlier, I bought this at -6, minus $1.17. It's 7.5 now. There's a couple reasons for that. Number one, Duke defeated West Virginia by 21 points. And yes, Deshaun Butler was hurt, but they were down 15 points and getting thumped before he went out with the injury. You know, Butler were in a tight game against Michigan State. They were in problems with one of their star players and foul problems, and that was part of the reason why Michigan State were not as effective. But they limited Butler to very poor shooting. Like, their percentage in shooting that game is horrific. If they come up with a game like that, Duke will blow them off the court. So it's a tough task for them. The two reasons for the line movement. Number one, Duke winning by 21 points against the number 2 seed West Virginia. They just manhandled them. And West Virginia, very tough, very physical, very defensive team. Very good. You know, I was surprised. I figured we gave Duke out. I figured they'd win.
We did. We had Duke at BetRepublic.com as our top player for the Final Four.
If I knew it was by 21, I would have put a few more shekels on it. No doubt about it.
You're saying if you would have known the final score before the game was started, you would have.
Well, if I knew it was going to be that easy, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's in hindsight, guys. A couple players for Duke. For Butler that are banged up, and that's another reason why the line may have moved slightly. I'll bet you dimes, dollars to donuts that they'll play. Mack and Howard, a head injury, I think it's a slight concussion. They'll probably go. The key for Butler is Hayward. He is their one true star. You know, you're looking at the NBA draft. 3 guys, as you mentioned, for Duke are phenomenal athletes. Butler were 5 for 21 and 3 when shooting the 3 in their last game against Michigan State. Duke defend the 3 very, very well. I just don't see any way that Butler can win this game straight up now. And again, will they cover the number? If Duke gets out to a lead, I don't think Butler has the horses to come back. And if it gets into a situation with fouls, as mentioned many times in this program, Duke are good in making their free throws. I have an opinion at 7.5 points, and it's just a small opinion. If you really have to play this game, find a baseball game tonight that you think will win outright on the money line. Make a recreational parlay bet on Duke to the money line. But
got a couple things to watch for. We have some trends to talk about as well. Bulldogs 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 NCAA tournament games. Now also Butler's style with their defense has resulted in 9 unders out of their last 10 matchups as well. Here comes the Duke offense, though. Duke is 5-0 against the spread in their past 5 tournament games. So I think that kind of washes out. Remember, betting trends are just. This is a game that comes down to. It's the final. It's the final game, and Duke knows what's on the line. Greg's talked about their record at 75% winning record straight up. They're going to go out there and execute a plan that can win this game. Covering the spread again. I don't have a play on the game, but like Greg is saying, it's going to be very hard for Butler to keep pace.
One other thing you have to consider is Duke only turned the ball over 6 times against West Virginia. Michigan State turned the ball over quite a bit against Butler, but they didn't have Lucas, which is a key component that was missing, and they still almost defeated Butler. I think Duke is too much for them. Long story short here, an opinion on laying 7.5 on the game and the Duke Blue Devils. And the total, I have no opinion on the total, whether over. I show slightly over, but, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the game stayed under. Okay, betting stats for you guys. Duke is getting 70% action at most sports books on the ATS, laying the point spread. 56% on the money line, people laying big juice for that, and 64% of the action so far on the over. What that means, especially in a big primetime contest like this, the favorite and the over are likely both going to go up. So if you're looking at getting a bet in on either, even if you're just going to parlay it or have some fun money on it, you better get in on it now. I don't see this action going back the other way. That's our analysis for the big game tonight. I hope you enjoy it. If you want more action on the game, more information, pop by BetRepublic.com. Greg will be there. I'll be there. We'll have some info for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on The Daily Line.